Welcome to episode 7 of the Grit Code Podcast, a place where we decode the steps to success on and off the field. I'm Donte Whitner, 11-year NFL vet, 3-time Pro Bowler, alongside number 378 NFL Hall of Famer and 49ers legend Patrick Willis. And with us each and every week is 49ers radio and TV analyst Rod Brooks. Guys, a chaotic week 7 in the NFL, but none more chaotic than what the 49ers experienced. Not only did you lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but you lost your cornerstone linebacker and Fred Warner. I'll start with you, Pat. Pat, how devastating is this for the 49ers defense?
Man, I'm honestly, you guys, I am still in disbelief. It's something that I didn't see this happening, but I've always one of those type of people that say, you got to play every down because you never know, when it may be your last. And so to see that happen to the 49ers, it wasn't just a hit to the 49ers, but I feel like it was a hit to the whole league. Fred was one of those guys who, for 8 years, he's been a consummate pro. He's been doing all the things that you would want from a leader on and off the field. And so this is big. This is big. But I would say the mentality has been next man up.
Not that anybody is ever to blame for an injury, particularly Fred's injury. But did you guys notice that on that play where Fred got injured, there was only 10 guys on the field? Yeah. Niners only had 3 down linemen. Fred saw it. Clearly Tampa saw it. They ran to the left side where there was the hole, where there was no down lineman, and everything happened. And Kyle Shanahan said if they would have known that there were only 10 men on the field, they would have immediately called timeout. The play would have never happened. Chances are Fred Warner would not have gotten his ankle dislocated.
Absolutely. And sometimes that's the way that the ball rolls. And hindsight is, 2020. And you never want to see anybody go down, but this is really what we sign up for. You don't really understand the magnitude of the injuries that could possibly happen to you until after the fact. So a dislocated ankle is a severe injury, and it was friendly fire, but I don't think that the 49ers defense can recover from this. Already having Nick Bosa missing, that was one thing. But when you have a guy like Fred Warner, a guy who sets the front, who pretty much is calling out the secondary guys and the secondary adjustments, and somebody that actually does it on a consistent basis as playing at a high level, that's really what a leader is. You can't be a leader and tell somebody what to do if you're not fucking doing it. They don't have anybody on their defense right now that can command any type of leadership because they don't have anybody that's playing consistent. So you really can't replace this. This is going to be one of those things where Kyle Shanahan is going to have to outscore the opposition instead of trying to stop them.
Man, you know what, Dante? That's actually what I was thinking about yesterday. I was watching the film, and I was like, man, how do you replace a guy like Fred? Just like, you can't replace a guy like Bosa. I mean, it takes more than one guy. And then someone like Fred, you can't just replace him with one guy. It's really going to take a team effort. But most importantly, you just paid your quarterback $250-something million. That's what you paid him for. You paid him to be able to say, you know what? We need you. We need you. We need
But I
you
compare
to
it to
be
you,
at
Pat.
your
If you would
best.
have went down with a season-ending injury, the aura on our defense would have diminished. It would have been different having Navarro Bowman and Michael Wilhoit in there than it is having Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman, because when you make a play, we all feel like we can make a play, or we have to match you. When you do the things that you're supposed to do, we all feel like we have to do those things. So if you put a guy like Michael Wilhoit out there, who I respect dearly, but he couldn't compare to you and what you brought to the defense, and he's not actually doing what he's supposed to do. We have misfits. He's setting the front wrong. He don't understand the coverages. That puts a lot of hesitancy in a lot of the players. They already had 8 new players on defense. Now you're going to be out there with 9 new players. It's a lot to put on Bethune's shoulders. I thought that a guy like D. Winters could possibly pick up the role, but when I looked over how he played in the last 3 games, and the way that he's not being consistent, he can't command the defense. So unless he starts to play like a Fred Warner, I don't really see where this defense can get better or can hold the opposition to under 23 points.
And the thing in the Tampa game, it was immediate. The
Absolutely.
Fred's impact or the loss of his impact. Once he went out, the Niners forced to punt when the series where Fred got hurt. They then got a punt in the next series. After that, Tampa scored, if I remember correctly. Touchdown, 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 touchdown. Missed field goal, and then scored again to basically salt the game away. And as soon as Fred went out, you could see missed assignments. You could see guys in the wrong gap. You could see guys unsure and hesitant. Bethune came in there and he was a tackling machine. He led the team in tackles just as Fred leads the team in tackles. But the naked eye could tell you that was a completely different defense in terms of its fit, in terms of its forcefulness, and in terms of its impact once Fred was out. And watching the Falcons play last night, it was impossible for me to not watch that game and not view it through the prism of no Fred and no Nick Bosa. Because how are they going to stop Bijan Robinson, who
It's
is
going
to
to be
me
difficult.
the best back in the game right now? How do you stop Drake London in that Falcons underneath pass game if Fred isn't there? How do you get pressure on Michael Penix Jr. if Nick Bosa isn't there? It's not impossible, but this is going to be a really difficult situation for the Niners right off the jump.
Man,
And
I
when you
just
think
I just
about
got the
it, they don't
chills.
really have the people on their defense to match up with those guys one for one.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to have to get some turnovers, which they haven't had any interceptions on the season. That's almost uncalled of. In 6 games, not having any interceptions is just like it's crazy in my mind. I want to flip to a couple plays from that game that we need to break down. The first one is leading off of the defense. It was the deep ball to Johnson,
Mhm.
right? When Baker Mayfield threw the strike and he caught it with the tips of his fingers. In that defense, the guy that was at fault was the outside corner, Renardo Green.
So
Renardo
wow.
Green is supposed to be a deep third defender, and you are press bailing on a bunch route. Pat, have you ever seen a guy press bail versus a bunch?
Truthfully, Dante, that's more your
Yeah,
arena.
but when
But
you
I
have the
will
deep
say,
third and you're supposed to see every route that comes out of
yeah,
that bunch, how are you going to press bail it? That's ludicrous. I've
yeah,
never seen a defense play cover three and press bail it to the side of the bunch. That's first and foremost, right? So if you get back to where you're supposed to be, 9 to 10 yards deep, with everybody inside, right, with good pace, and you see receiver Johnson, you close to his upfield shoulder. But when you press bail, you're putting yourself in a lose-lose situation from the jump. Then you have a rookie safety. That play was really a sluggo go. It's been in the NFL for decades, where you have a young safety in the middle of the field. You're used to seeing him on film, not backpedal with pace. He's not at the 14, 15 yards of depth that he's supposed to be at. He's not favoring the trip side. He's not really backpedaling with the anticipation that he's going to get attacked. He's really like lollygagging back there. This is how you give up a deep ball in the middle of the field right when Fred Warner leaves the game. So that's a culmination of Fred leaving and then nobody to really look up to for leadership out there. So if they
yeah.
don't get those things bolted down, this could be a troublesome second half of the season on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes back to the motto I say, man, humble but hungry. When it's hot, you gotta stay humble but stay hungry in the process. And I will say that the linebackers, to me, especially the middle linebackers, are the general of the defense. And as you said, Rod, you could see right away that it was a drop off in communications and guys being where they were supposed to be. And I've seen it from training camp, but that's the thing that you run into when you have a guy like Fred who's been there
Yeah.
every single day, and you kind of take it for granted. But now it's really going to cause everybody from top down to really wake up and really be on their P's and Q's, because sometimes when you got leadership, when you got guys who can, run it for you, it's kind of easy just to be like, what, they have it. But as Dante was saying, they are really missing some guys. And I still think, man, we have to be faithful and we have to be positive because
Optimistic.
that's our motto. Because I will say that, man, they did miss some plays on that defensive line that could have helped them
Oof.
win that game. I mean, they let Baker Mayfield get out of there, get out of that rush a few times. And when you have opportunities like
Which is
that, you
that a
have to
lack of
seize it.
execution, though? It's a lack of
And I just think
execution.
it's just finished. I think on the defensive line there, it was just more so just finishing the plays. But what I will say to you, Dante, me just not being, I understand tools and things that we would use from DBs to linebackers. But what I was seeing out there was some young eyes, especially at Bethune. Like there was some plays that I saw that, like, man, I know for a fact that was Fred. He ain't biting on that cheese route that's right in front of him.
And
He's
put the
looking at
dig
it, but
route
he know
right
the whole
behind him.
time what's coming behind him.
He
And
would
so I saw
anticipate
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that, and then as you say, I saw some things where in the secondary coverage, you was like, man, why are you guys like, so shallow? Like this right here, like, was it too high
Yeah.
or single high? If it was single high, that corner should have been up there higher. Like, why was he there? So you're right, Dante. It's going to
So,
be
Pat, let me ask you this. For those linebackers that are the quarterback of the defense, who are moving into a new role, who they have high expectations for this defense, what would be your advice for those guys right now? How should they go about their weeks? How should they go about commanding everything from walkthrough to the meeting room to the meetings to setting the front on Sunday to pursuit angles to physicality? What would be your advice for these linebackers that are expected to lead this defense?
yeah, man. That's a good question. I would say to him, this is your moment. This is your time. This is why you show up each and every day and you prepare because you never know when your number is going to be called. I would tell them just take a deep breath. Don't overthink it. I know that's easier said than done because those guys are smart. I've been in meeting rooms with them. It's one thing, yeah, it is one thing to be smart, but it's another thing to execute. And I have complete faith in Coach Holland and that defensive staff. And so, yeah, I would just tell them, man, just take a deep breath and just know, like, you here for a reason. You've been here. You've seen how it's done. Just take it one day at a time and just give it your best, and then let the chips fall where they may.
So let me ask both of you guys this, because this Niner defense, before you lost Bosa and Fred Warner, they were already one of the youngest defenses in the league. The Niners are I think, the third in the league in terms of number of rookie snaps, and the overwhelming majority of those rookie snaps come on defense. Clearly, there is no replacing Bosa, and there is no replacing the all-encompassing Fred Warner. But Dante, this got me thinking, because you mentioned how on that deep shot where Tampa scored on the touchdown, it's because of the youthfulness of Renardo Green and Marquise Siegel that Tampa was able to pick on that. The Niners are relying on a lot of rookies and young guys. Micah Williams, rookie. Upton Stout, rookie. Marquise Siegel, rookie. D. Winters, third-year player. Renardo Green, second-year player. Tatum Bethune, now in the mix because you lost Fred. He's a second-year player. That's a lot of young Thundercats out there. How much can we reasonably expect for Robert Saleh to make a difference in that regard? Clearly, he can't go out there and play. Once they get between the white lines, it's on the players. But is there anything that Robert Saleh can do schematically or coaching wise to get these young guys to not fall for the cheese, to play confidently and to play with force like they had on some level when Fred Warner was out there?
I don't think so. Mainly because youth in the NFL is great to have on your team in bits and pieces,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not as a
You
collective.
can't rely on it.
You
Yeah.
can't rely on it because there's primary things that you have to worry about on defense. Then there's secondary things. There's certain checks you have to make. There's certain looks you have to give as a linebacker, right? If you want to give a
Mm-hmm.
man look versus a cover three look, but still understand your responsibility, you have to understand leverage. As far as safeties and corners, when you're playing the top quarterbacks in the league, they're not only looking at the coverage, they're looking at your mannerisms,
Your
how you
eyes.
stand with your feet, your eyes, your width and depth in the deep parts of the field. So if you don't have all of these different things that you can actually process through in a matter of time, and then they say, oh, the quarterback gonna snap the ball around 7 seconds. So when he go hut, and you show it, he automatically knows where to go. So you have to have
Mm-hmm.
poise. That comes with playing football, understanding, being together, being in the meeting rooms. When we were with Vic Fangio in San Francisco, our defense was so intricate but so simple. Nobody could figure out what we were doing. It was all body positioning, mannerisms, and showing the quarterback each and every play the opposite of what you were doing. The
Mm-hmm.
way that Ty Bowles did to Mac Jones on that interception. When that safety was standing in the middle of the field and that corner was off at 8 yards, but he knew he was going to jump that number 2 breaking out, and the safety had number 1 over the top, and number 2 and number 3, they had inside walls, right? They knew that their weaknesses was the 7 routes and the breakouts. That's a deep understanding that rookies, second year and third year players, they're not about to accomplish each and every snap. Maybe 1 or 2 plays they can try to steal one, but to be on the field for 65 plays and execute at that high of a level, it's hard for young guys to do. So they're going to have to simply rely on effort and being able to turn the ball over.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to have to worry for.
Yeah, and usually that requires a good defensive pass rush up front and guys being on it. And Donte, that could be indicative too as well. I know they missed some interceptions this year. I know Fred had a few in his hands. But you're right. That is interesting that none of the DBs, have any interceptions, but a lot of that comes from not having that elite pressure
And
up
having
front.
a new defense. And
Yeah,
when you play in a new defense, you're a little hesitant, right?
yeah,
You don't really know what you can give up. You don't really know your depth. You don't know where your help is. So a lot of it is hesitancy along with the pass rush. Let's move on to the Brian Branch versus JuJu McSchuster. I just love that situation.
Why you call him Mick Schuster, dog?
That's his name, right? McSchuster. What's his name, right?
Schuster. I don't know why you decided to make him Irish.
Oh,
Smith Schuster.
yeah,
I'm
Smith
just playing.
Schuster.
Keep going, dog.
Yeah. This is a tough situation for me. And my alter ego almost want to say that I agree with what he did. Mainly because there's a hidden rule and things that players like to read into on the field. Pat, have you ever allowed an offensive player to finish on you on that game field? Which means that
nah,
if he's getting his block at the last moment, Patrick Willis either has to win or you concede defeat.
yeah,
And
yeah,
every other player in the league and every other position coach that is blocking you or trying to, stop you from doing what you do, run and make tackles and hit and cause chaos, they're telling their players, look, this player did it. You can do it too.
mhm,
So I almost want to agree with him, mainly because he's doing his job and he gets hit in the back. And if you allow too many of those moments to happen on that film, they'll take shots at you each and every week.
you're
And
right.
then there's hidden things in the game that are said to each other between wide receivers and defensive backs that probably should never be said on podcasts or anywhere that can get your temper boiling. So I almost want to agree, but then I have to tell them, hey, man, you have to keep a cool head. They got one up on you. You were probably a little upset that they were mocking you at the end of the game, and we understand the competitive nature of it. So I'm a little bit on the fence with it, but I'm leaning more towards take the 1 game suspension and put it out there that if you try this, you're going to get fucked up.
Yeah.
Period.
Right, you guys. So I've seen a little bit of this before, and Dante, we always have this thing as a linebacker, you don't get blocked. You never let them linemen feel like they controlled you. Like even when I'm watching film now, in my mind is get off that block, man. Do
Yeah.
not let him finish with his hands all over you like he blocked you. You get off that. But every now and then you have some cheap shots in there. But I'm a firm believer that if it happens in between the lines, it stays on the I guess it was on the field, but it stays in between the regulations
Right.
of the game because again, like him missing the game, him getting the 1 game suspension. Yes, he showed that like he ain't nobody to be played with, but then that kind of hurts the team, and it's more like that's more about you and to be a good teammate. Those are the moments that you want to stay away from, but at the same time too, Dante, I feel you a little bit. You're like, yeah, man, they know that your DB's like tough and they ain't taking no crap. Hey,
Yeah, man, you hit me in my
feeling
back,
too,
man. I'm about to
So
be the highest paid safety in the league. We ain't really having that. So
yeah,
this is why I want to agree with him. But I agree with you, Pat. He should have took the high road. And now he's going to be known for something totally different than what he's supposed to be known for. And that's being a phenomenal safety in the league, top 3, in my opinion.
But hasn't he always, Brian Branch, been known as one of them dudes you just don't want to fool with?
Yeah. And he showed it, didn't he? Fuck around and find out. You fuck around and find out, I bust your nose on national TV. You understand? I make you into a meme. So, Brian Branch, serve your 1-game suspension, man. Get back to being the upstanding citizen of the community for the Detroit Lions, because y'all have a hell of a team and you're a very gifted player. I want to go over to the New York Jets before I get to the Dallas Cowboys.
Oof.
Aaron Glenn. Did you guys see that 2-minute situation?
Man.
Where they just let the time run off. They had the ball in pretty good field position, and Garrett Wilson pretty much told him about himself on the sideline. Did you see that, Rod?
Man, let me tell you something. There's a lot of people out there who think they can play football because maybe they played a little bit in high school, you're watching it a lot, and you play Madden. I mentioned Madden last because so many people play it, and the one thing that people have done is they feel like they're experts on the clock, right? They know when to call timeouts, they know how to handle situations. Now, playing a video game, clearly, it's not like standing on the sideline with all that pressure on you. But everybody watched that Jet situation, and everybody's screaming the same thing. Why are you letting that clock run out? Why are you not managing that clock? And asking you guys,
So hold
one
on,
thing you
Rod. I want to
explain,
ask you,
yeah.
Rod, is this where he showed that he's not classified to be a head coach?
But see, that's kind of where I'm going. Look, Aaron Glenn, great player, clearly very good defensive coordinator, but that head coaching situation is different. I would think for you guys as players, the one thing you expect for your coach to be is competent when it comes to handling the clock, handling end of half, end of game situations. And to see your coach stand there and freeze like that, I that's one of the damnedest things I've seen in a long, long time.
But does that show the team that you don't believe in them? Does that tell the offense, Pat, that you don't believe in them if you're not really even trying to get 3 points at the end of this game? What is that saying?
I'm kind of mixed as I hear you guys like speak about it, and I did see a little bit of it. I didn't watch the whole game. To me, it would almost be like either he don't want to let go, either he doesn't. All right, it's one thing to be the head coach. Again, I learned this because I remember seeing a little bit of it, because I've had some coaching changes in college
Mhm.
and the pros, and I remember seeing a little bit of it. And what comes to mind to me is that he's not really wanting to what they would call relinquish like power throughout, and realize that it's not just you and all your brain. You really have to rely on those guys around you. Like there are people who that's what they do. They know the clock. There are offensive
Right,
coaches like you on the headset. Like
right.
you all should be having a communication. And the fact that like they have a moment like that, that to me is almost like, wait a minute, this is higher than just players, because obviously the players were lost. You saw one of their top players, he was frustrated because he didn't know what was going on. And when your
Mhm.
quarterback don't know what's going on in 2 minutes and he don't know how to run it and operate it, it's almost like dysfunction from top to bottom, because at bare minimum, you would think on the headset, y'all having these communications and this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to go down and do it. And the fact
Yep.
that they were just stuck like that, and it looked at, and everybody is talking like, man, do y'all, what's going on?
It
Are
was
y'all not on the
almost as
same
if he
page?
said, fuck it, we'll go to the second half and we'll let the defense handle this.
Something like
Being a
he's really
defensive coordinator, it was almost like he said that. And the Johnson family, they want a winner in New York. And when you look at Aaron Glenn and his lack of competency, I think that this possibly cost him his job. Now
You
they'll
think
probably
that
give him a
early?
few more games.
Okay.
There's been head
Okay.
coaches in the history that have
No,
lost
you're right.
their jobs in the first season, in the first couple games. If they continue to go on this losing streak and he continues to show that he isn't capable, I believe that he doesn't make it out of this first season.
I, here's the thing. I don't disagree that the Johnsons, the Band-Aid family would do something like that, because here's why I disagree with you. There's nothing that Woody Johnson and them people have shown me over the past 15, 20 years. They show me that either A, they want a winner, or they know what a winner looks like. I'm not saying that Aaron Glenn is not blameless, because that situation, clearly it's what you said, Donte, where he was just like, I'm gonna let my defense handle it, or it was incompetent clock management. Either way, it's not a good look. And the jury is clearly out, and where the jury is right now is not good for Aaron Glenn, but the jury is still out as to whether he can be a competent minimum head coach or not. But man, we talking about the Jets. The Jets can't get right. So I'm not exactly sure, and maybe they made another mistake here with Aaron Glenn. But these are the same people that got Aaron Rodgers in the mix there previously. These are the same people that have hired bad coach after bad coach and made bad decision after bad decision. So I'm not exactly sure, A, they want a winner, or more importantly, they actually know what a winner looks like.
I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna say something right now. There's a shift happening right before our eyes, and it's like seasons, right? You can see it coming in, but it don't just happen in a day. You just see the leaves changing. You see different things happening, birds flying, different ways. And what I'm noticing is if you pay attention to college and pros, everything it transfer, right? If you're in college, eventually going to the pros. These new players, these this what I'm thinking about is it's a new league, new players. We just talked about it with the Niners, and we don't talk about it enough. But some of those guys in year 8, year 9, and yes, they still have football left in them. But that's when you start getting to the prime into the backside of your career. And what I'm noticing, the reason why I'm saying this is because the old coaching regime, you saw it in Bill Belichick, respectfully, him going to college, him trying to come from the pros and go to college. What I think is going to start happening is just like for us, the time is going to come where it's a new style, new coaches, new players, and those same players that are coming from college, they're going to be able to have a better relationship with those college coaches. And there's some college coaches that just got fired, and they are paying them colleges are paying them a healthy amount of money to fire them ahead of their contract. $56 million for the coach from Coach Franklin for Penn State. And so what I see eventually like those are going to be the new the new coaches or the new something. Again, I'm just throwing it out there, but I think we're going to see a shift, and it may not make a whole lot of sense because the jump, but I would say that we're going to start seeing more college coaches now step into the pros and be professional coaches because of their understanding of the NIL, because of their relationship with these guys that are just churning and everything. So yeah, I think a shift is happening. If they fire him, Dante, I wouldn't be surprised if they possibly go a college route. If they
I
go
don't
and get
know,
a
but they need
college
to
head
do
coach.
something because you know that New York Jet fan base is not going to take too much to this,
Man, they've been
right?
taking it forever. I see that.
Yeah, but
That's why I disagree with
it's
you.
time
They
to
ain't
put
doing
it's
nothing.
time to put the bags back on the head.
They talking loud and saying nothing.
I
All
got
right.
Justin Fields getting it done though. I think it's the first time in history we had a quarterback that started the game, throw for over 250, 2 touchdowns and 0 interceptions and win 0 games. And they're also a defense that can't get any interceptions. So that's probably why they're struggling. I want to move over to the NFC. The Dallas Cowboys versus the Carolina Panthers. Ricky Dowdle told those boys on defense over there, he said, y'all better strap it up. That's pregame. That's during the week. That's
That was
so that
during the
you
week.
can
Yeah, that wasn't before the
hear
game. That was
those
during the week.
words and it can marinate on your brain so you can know what I'm going to do to you. He told those boys pregame during the week. He said, y'all boys better strap it up. Ain't nobody say a word. It was a peep out of Dallas. 183 rushing yards, 53 receiving yards, a touchdown. He backed up that smack talk. And you know what that shows me? The Dallas Cowboys are 32nd ranked in the league in the defensive on the defensive side of the ball, all defensive categories. They're ranked first in softness. The Dallas Cowboys defense is SOFT, soft. And tell him I said it. Pat, if any offensive player that's going to touch that football when we played together would have come out during the week and said, them boys better strap it up, what would have happened to him?
Man, I already know a few of you all are going to say something. Me, I'm not so much a talker, but in my gut,
Pat, what's going to happen on the field,
yeah, in
Pat?
my gut,
We
in my
got
gut.
11
Hey,
hyenas running around here.
That's all that matters. In my gut, I'm thinking like, man, I cannot freaking wait to game day, man. You talking that mess? Man,
We gonna
show
knock
up.
your fucking noodles
Show
loose.
up. Like just show up. Just be there. Let's see what we got. But that's because though I was confident in our defense, and I was confident in the way that we went about practice, the way we went about that weight room. And so I didn't care who was on the other side. And how dare you talk mess? How dare you talk mess? So the
Man,
fact that
listen, man, you got Patrick Willis in the middle, Navarro. Then you got two trained killers at safety, like literally two trained killers. Then you got Ahmad Brooks. Then you got people that just they don't even have them all. So I would have listen, that's like my dream. My dream is to have somebody on offense be like, can't wait till Sunday. Watch what we do. Man, we gonna fucking knock your noodles loose, buddy.
he don't
That
have
just
no
shows
credit.
me that there's like zero fight over there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Zero fight.
Yeah.
Individually, collectively, there's no team unity. There is nothing. They don't have a chance.
But I tell you this, and for context, Rico Dowdell played for the Cowboys. So, and
Absolutely.
as you guys
That
know,
makes it even worse, Pat. We
Like,
tried to practice
see,
against you every day. That mean
but
every day you was practicing against us, you was looking at us like, hey man, he's soft.
that's the
Him.
thing.
He's soft.
He knew exactly what he was saying, and he knew exactly who he was talking about. So not only is it the former player going up against his former team, you guys understand, not necessarily you, Pat, but D, you understand how it works. Going up against your former team, you want to show out, and on top of that, you know them dudes ain't about that life. Dowdell knew
Usually you're
exactly
humble
what he
though.
was talking about.
Usually you're like, it's a great opportunity. It's only another game.
You
He
know
was
that's
like, no,
all
fuck
lies.
that. Y'all chose fat ass Ezekiel Elliott over me. I should have still been in Dallas as the lead running back to showcase my skills for America's team. And you fucked over me. And now I'm about to fuck over you on Sunday. And that's exactly what he did. There was nobody out there that wanted that wreck. Hey, salute to you, my brother. Anybody that can talk the talk, walk the walk, and go out there and like actually perform, man, I'm a fan of yours for a long time. So Rico Dowdle gets the Grit Cold Player of the Week for calling out the weak Dallas Cowboys and running through them boys like a hot knife through butter. That's what he did. That's
No,
what he did.
that's I'm excited to see. I am excited to see the Panthers having success. Because for a minute they was writing off the quarterback Bryce Young and just the
I'm
whole.
still writing them off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe
Hey,
in them. I don't believe in them, Pat.
I they're winning. They're winning, and that's all it is at the moment. But yeah, I'm excited to see him getting some dubs because man, they was really on his. They was on him
It was on him.
as if he was no good, and obviously had to be something to be the first round, to be the first guy taken, in the draft. But yeah, that's just the running back was confident, and he also had something to prove to his old team.
There was another situation around the league in the AFC with the Miami Dolphins with Tua Tagovailoa. Said that pretty good, didn't I?
Nice.
Tua Tagovailoa.
You had you had
Tua Tagovailoa calling out his teammates. He were speaking to the media post game, and he was talking about the reason that they're losing or in the situation that they're in is because they have players only meetings that players show up late to or pretty much just say fuck it and don't show up at all. Pat, what do you think about him saying that? And is that the reason why they're losing?
Yeah, Dante, when I heard him up there, in his press conference, heard him talking, the first thing in my head, I was like, man, he talking like he's the head coach. He talking like he the head coach, but then on top of that, he's talking about things that you want to keep in-house. Those are conversations that you have amongst each other. And when you start bringing it to the public and you start bringing it to, you know, interviews after the game, that's when you know there's a lot of dysfunction from top to bottom, and not just dysfunction, but respect. Usually, a lot of times, if you're a top guy, especially if you're a quarterback, I heard Brady saying, "Listen, I would call my own walkthroughs. Like we would have our own walkthroughs." And I'm thinking to myself, like, man, that's what's up. That means those guys had to respect you. The fact that that you calling your own walkthroughs and they showing up, that means one, they respect you, and then they believe in what you have going on. And so the fact that he's getting up there and he's saying all of that, it just there's a lot of dysfunction going on in that locker room.
Hey, Pat, you just nailed it. Tua told on himself
Yeah.
in those statements. He said they're not showing up, or they're showing up late for players only meetings, and that's a problem with leadership. If it's a players only meeting, I'm just assuming, but I think my assumption is correct, that the leader of the players, the quarterback, is either responsible for those meetings being called, or there's an expectation that the quarterback is going to be there to lead this players only meeting. If dudes are not showing up, or they're showing up late for the players only meeting, yes, it's a reflection on bad leadership. You, the quarterback, they don't respect you. They don't respect your agency and what you're bringing. So he got up there, in essence, trying to throw other players, and clearly his head coach, Mike McDaniel, under the proverbial bus, when, if you really know, like Pat and Donte, or if you just think about it critically for a third of a second, they don't run with you, bruh.
They don't. And guess what? They don't respect you or McDaniel.
Nope.
And in a short amount of time, they'll clean house for the Miami Dolphins. It sounds like a lot of snitch work to me. This is some things that you possibly think you can say in the locker room, you can say in team meetings, you can say amongst the coaching staff, front office, and the players, but you don't say it in the media.
And
You
that's the thing, Donte, that he feels more comfortable in going to the media and saying that stuff than he does going into the locker room and confronting cats face to face. And to me,
absolutely,
that
because
says a lot, and none of
and
it's
it's
good.
not the reason that they're losing is because they don't show up to players only meetings. The reason that they're losing is Live, Booby Trap, Mr. Jones, Diamond Dolls, Kiki on the River, Club 11, 24-hour strip club.
What you know about that?
That's the reason why the Miami Dolphins can't win. You think that you're going to draft guys from all around America, bring them to the strip club capital of the world, give them money in their early 20s, and they're going to be dignified? Absolutely not. They're getting the product of the demographic. And it takes a strong head coach to control those guys to get them to see that for what it is, but still perform on the field. So they don't have a chance. The Miami Dolphins right now are what, 1-5?
Yes.
And they're already packing those U-Hauls to get back to their hometown.
No,
Or better
Dante,
yet, just stay here. Party a little more.
Dante, hey, you hit it right on the head, and you said something earlier. To be able to command, I don't necessarily want to say command, but to be able to ask and or command your guys to do certain things or to be a certain way, that means that you have to be a person that's accountable each and every game. It doesn't mean you have to play every play perfect, but it has to be something that they see in you that they're like, you know what, we're gonna get behind him and we're gonna ride with him,
Yep.
rain, sleep, or shine. And I also say too that, man, it's easy when you got all the pieces. It's easy when everything is going great. And for some of these guys, and again, man, I'm only speaking because I feel like I had to get it the hard way, where you had to go through the hell first to appreciate the heaven later on, like the good later on. And for some of these guys, coming from college, he come from Alabama, and I'm not sure, they had Nick Saban. And so I don't really know how much he had to really tap into that,
That's a
that
good point.
leadership part,
Great
because
point.
a leader in me would have said like, shit, man, you don't mention this to the public. You don't say nothing about this out loud. This is kind of conversations that you keep in house. If anything, when you up there on that media, you up there, you say, you know what? There's work that we got to do, and it starts with me first.
And Pat,
And
D,
I'm not
he
hearing none
threw
of that.
3 interceptions. How you gonna get up there and talk about a lack of leadership and what other cats are or are not doing after a game where you just threw 3 picks?
And he probably should have
Like,
said,
go
man, they
on.
were out all night getting drunk. He ran the wrong route. And I threw the ball thinking he was going to be in a certain place, and the DB picked it off. It's his fault. That's the type of guy that Tua is. You have to, no matter how difficult it gets in that locker room, you can never out your teammates in the media. You can never tell what's going on with. First of all, players only meetings, they're they're voluntary. Like it's not mandatory. So even if you're talking about anything that's voluntary, even if a guy doesn't show up, he doesn't like you, doesn't want to talk to you, you can't really out him for not being there because he's not on the clock. So I disagree with what Tua did, but I do understand his frustration because it all falls back on the highest paid player and usually the quarterback. And Tua, they're going through something right now, and it's that panic stage like we went through in Cleveland. When you start losing, you start to listen to the media. They're adding you on X. They're talking about whispers of your head coach getting fired. You know that everybody's job is in question, and it's a scary place to be. And only the strong rise. You'll see a lot of people around that building start crumbling. They start whispering, looking for their new job, and it's just a tough place to be. I really want to finish on this one and go back over to the AFC. Daniel Jones and the Indianapolis Colts are starting to command and demand my respect. They have a running game. Daniel Jones, he isn't turning the football over. They can get after you. Are we starting to take the Indianapolis Colts seriously or no?
I mean, you have to by virtue of what they've done. I'm of a mind and have always been of a mind. I can't really anoint you before Thanksgiving, definitely before Halloween. So what they've done, all respect to them. It is impressive. I wonder if we're kind of grading on a curve because they were so bad in previous years. But whatever we're grading them now, hey man, you're at top of the AFC South. Good for you. But can it last? Is it sustainable? I need to see a little bit more before I really kind of give them that
All
juice.
right. Would they have been in this position with Anthony Richardson at
No, no, no,
quarterback?
no, no, absolutely not. No, 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 clearly not. No, credit to Daniel Jones, credit to Shane Steichen, credit to that entire team. You know what they're doing. We're all big fans of Mooney Ward, and glad that he's going to a team where his veteran presence is helping clearly them to greater heights. I just
Pat,
my skepticism is there just because we're still in the middle of October.
Pat, did you see Travarius Ward working out pregame and hit the tight end and got knocked unconscious? Did you see that play?
Yeah, I
I mean,
did.
that
I saw
pregame
that.
warm up?
Yeah, I saw that. I mean,
What do
that
you think about that?
two things. Man, that's the first time you always hear pregame, you hear, get out of the way, watch out for the guys, our space should be our space. But I hardly ever think about you and your own teammates, like having a moment to where you injure one of you guys injure each other or whatnot. So that was, man, that sucked to see. And then on top of that, it also makes you wonder, like, God dang, man, like listen, I'm not saying I'm the toughest SOB that ever walked the earth,
Well, you might be, Pat. No,
but
well, hold up now.
but man, but man, I just some of this stuff, man, it blows my mind. Like, and I mean, it was a good lick. I mean, I feel like I heard it. It's like you heard it in the way up there, up high. And so maybe it was just, you can never. I'm not judging that. It just, man, that for you to have to go out like that, is it's unfortunate. But back real quick, back to Daniel Jones. Sometimes when you find the right match, you gain the kind of confidence that maybe you didn't have before.
Sure.
But it's not that he didn't believe he couldn't play because obviously he played well at Duke. He did go to the Giants and didn't play so well. But for him to, I heard that he finally linked up with his offensive coordinator or someone that was really meaningful to him because man, they spent a lot of time together in the offseason. And it sounded like the Colts got the quarterback that they really want to go forward with. And so just to see him having the kind of game, having the season that he's having is awesome. But I'm like you, Rod. It's kind of hard to just, say he's arrived until you go into the playoffs and get them to the playoffs and then win a game. And then maybe I say, he's there.
Well, I'll go even a little bit earlier than that. Not that I'm wishing this on them, but I want to see what happens when they go through some adversity. And you guys know this, man. Nothing is easy. Nothing is perfect over the course of a season. Even the best teams are going to hit some sort of a rough patch. The question is, How do you deal with it? And how do you get out of it? Or do you allow that rough patch to become a rough streak and then derail your season? I want to see what happens when the Colts face an opponent that's not backing down from them. What happens when they deal with injuries, which is what every team has to deal with, some more than others, thinking about the Niners. So I think right now the Colts are playing at a high level, and not that it's easy, but things are coming to them easy. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's coming to them easy because of what they have offensively, because of what they have defensively, because of what they have now in head coach Shane Steichen. But like I said, my skepticism, I think, is warranted. And if I'm wrong, hey man, I'm wrong.
Donte, real quick to you. Is this team, is the Colts, or maybe just the quarterback position, are the Colts better as a team or at the quarterback position than the Vikings were last year with Sam Darnold?
I think it's comparable. I think they have a defense that's trending somewhere around the top 12 in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, they picked up pieces like Travarius Ward. They still have like DeForest Buckner. And on the offense side of the ball, Jonathan Taylor is amazing. I don't know if you guys have watched him,
Oh yeah.
but he's revitalized, and they're really running that offense through him, the play action game, and giving Daniel Jones easy throws so that he doesn't turn the football over. And whenever you can run the football, play good run defense, you have pass rushers, not just edge rushers, but you have guys like DeForest Buckner who's still playing at an all-pro level. You have a chance, in my opinion. And I want to end here, and I want to say this, that Ohio State is wide receiver U. Have you guys seen Jackson Smith in Jigba?
Yes, we have.
The boy is superstar level now. Did you see that deep ball that running past that boy Greg Newsome? Boy, that was a welcome to Jacksonville moment. I want to give a shout out to Jackson Smith in Jigba. He's really putting the Buckeyes on the map. We got about 4 or 5 guys that should be trending somewhere in that top 10 area. Emeka Ibuka. We got a bunch of guys up there. Marvin Harrison Jr., he's creeping up. You know, we got a bunch of guys. So Brian Hartline, great job.
Here we go.
Those
These
guys out
Ohio
there.
State cats. Y'all see this helmet over my right shoulder? Y'all know the real wide receiver you. We talking Justin Jefferson. We talking Jamar Chase. We giving big shout outs, and we sending our best to Malik Neighbors. We know where the real wide receivers come from.
Wait a minute now. Let's not talk about receivers now. I don't need to get Ole Miss in this thing.
Ain't nothing at Ole Miss, dog.
Hey, come on now.
Y'all got linebackers and defensive linemen, maybe.
AJ Brown, Moncrief,
AJ Brown on his way out.
The tight ends.
AJ Brown, we'll get to that next week. I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us on this week's episode of the Grit Code Podcast. Be sure to get your Grit Code merchandise at gritcode.shop, and be sure to follow and like on YouTube, X, Instagram, and Spotify. Till next week,